Simon, what squad changes you're making this week?
I can't remember the squad from last week, to be totally honest. We picked up a couple of bits, a couple of injuries that obviously we like every week we give them to as late as we can, which a little bit tricky this week with it being Catalan and changing flights and all that sort of stuff. But it won't be too far different. But there could be a couple of changes at this stage.
One person who we've just seen with his knee in a brace is Davy Litton. What's the situation with him?
Yeah, a bit of a shock really, and really disappointing for Davy because he's got his crack and he's gone well. I think it wasn't long into the game at the weekend. He came out of a tackle and I do remember it. He ran back a little bit ginger, I suppose, and got through the game. Obviously scored a lovely try after that and had a hand in a few other really good stuff as well. So no one was concerned after the game. It's just when he's coming in the morning, they do whatever tests they need to do, and his knee was a little bit unstable. Straight for a scan, and it looks like he'll do well, very well, if we see him again this year, unfortunately.
What's the injury?
MCL, so his medial ligament on the inside of his knee there, and obviously that's one of your main stabilisers of your knee, so no risks. He felt fine, to be fair. The scan to him was a bit over the top, but obviously the test that they did indicated there was something going on, and proven right, so fair play to the medical staff for spotting it. But yeah, disappointing for us. We haven't got a massive squad, have we? And also real disappointing for David because he's been waiting patiently. Yeah, unfortunate, but that's the game, unfortunately.
Will he need an operation?
No surgery, hopefully. As it stands, no surgery, but it's one that they'll check on later on.
As for your other injuries, how's Brad Fash?
Brad, stiff neck. That was obviously last week where he was ruled out. He's improved a bit this week. And again, he's one of them concerns we're looking at, and we'll make our choice.
Carlos
was good last week. Decided to leave Davey in there because he'd done a good job, so you've got to reward him as well at some point. But yeah, Davey's made it really easy for me with the injury. Fortunate for me, I suppose, but Carlos comes in and he's trained really well today. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him get back in there.
How's Logan?
My shoulder still, I think a little bit better. He's joined in training today. Can't do the contact stuff, but he's getting there. But as with Logan, it's the same for Jack Walker. He's gone in and gone really well. I'll have to just wait for his turn now and get his body right.
How pleased were you with Jack and Jack's performance last weekend?
Yeah, good. He did some eye-catching stuff. Obviously got himself a try, made a few half breaks, but the other side of the ball was good as well. I think maybe 3 try savers in the game, which obviously there is important as scoring tries. Happy for him as well. As I said post-game, I think being on the edge of it is difficult anyway. When a team's winning every week, it's a little bit easier to swallow because generally people aren't changing the winning team too much. And obviously when we've been losing, he's had to swallow the fact that Moy's been going well. So it has been difficult for him, but he's not moaned, he's got on with it. And he deserved his chance, and I think he did a really good job of it. And yeah, I'm obviously really happy for him in doing so.
Tiaki back with you?
Yeah, he's back with us this week, yeah. Straight back in with us.
Okay. Any injuries that we've not mentioned so far that are standouts for you this week?
None that I don't think you're not aware of already.
Where's Jed Cartwright at the moment?
Jed's, it's been 2 or 3 weeks now, is it? He's making progress. There's still, I don't know the definitive timescale. I said I'd get the news on this and I haven't, unfortunately, but he's been in a boot. I think he's due to come out of the boot this week, so it's how fast he can progress from the boot to doing everything before we sign him off to play, so sooner rather than later, hopefully.
Transfer window closes on August the 2nd. At what stage are you at with trying to bring in any fresh faces in addition to what you've brought in so far? Anyone coming in for this weekend?
I'm not at any stage, that's for Richard. I'm sure he's having a look and trying, but I think every other club's probably doing the same, so you can imagine how difficult it'll be. We do have some needs, and if we got them sorted out, it'd be great. But if not, we've got what we've got, and we'll just keep going. As we have been, we've managed to get a couple in, but it is a difficult market, and there's lots of caveats around stuff. A lot of people moving at this time of year, they want some security for next year, but obviously a lot of decisions have already been made on what we can have for next year, so it's not all cut and dry. So we'll just keep getting on with the day-to-day, the coaching bit, and if someone new turns up that can add to us, that'd be great.
Anything, though, for the weekend?
This weekend, no. I said this last week, though, and King turned up, so don't trust me. No, I don't think there's anything going to happen this week.
Oh, we trust you. As for players you've been linked with, Lachlan Lamb is somebody who's been chatted about. What is the situation? Do you have an interest in him?
I'm not sure. Rich is the one who's dealing with those sort of things. Personally, my opinion would be he'd be great for us. He's a good player, but I'm sure a lot of people would say the same. He'll have a lot of suitors if he's available. But again, that's up to Rich to go and do that work.
And Jordan Rapana,
another one I've seen. Honestly, it's probably not a name in rugby league that's not been associated with us because everyone knows we're trying to change. And
do you have an interest?
Do I?
As a club?
I don't know. Again, that's another one for Rich.
But you would chat, wouldn't you?
I think he's a competitor. I think he's coming towards the end of his career. I think he's still got a hell of a lot to offer. But yeah, there's a lot of things that would have to happen, I think, for him to land here.
Okay, what sort of things? Are you able to share that?
Well, availability of other people. Yeah, obviously, how it works. Yeah, again, you have to Rich will confirm this when you speak to him, but you have your list of priorities and what you need to do, where he would sit on that for us. I don't know, but I'd imagine there'll be a few things that need to happen, and if he's a fullback, there might be 6 others off contract, and depending where they land, it's a bit of a minefield. I'm glad I'm not dealing with it.
How confident are you, though, of being able to get further additions in before the deadline?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm trying not to worry about it too much. As I say, it would be nice to get a couple in. We do lack depth in a couple of positions, but
what positions
if we can't get them,
Simon?
I think second row is one for us. Obviously, Jed's not playing, Ockenball's gone, so there's a gap there in bodies. And obviously Davy's gone. Outside backs leaves us a little bit short as well. But again, we've got pretty capable people. The young lads are getting better every week through the experience of it. So if that's the way of it between now and the end, we're somewhat at peace with that. It will be putting some people under stress as the season goes on, but yeah, that's just how it is at the moment.
Yeah, a good thing. What's the win over Wigan done for the group in training? I know it's early days in the week, but what's it done for them? What are you picking up?
They trained really well today. My hope is that they take confidence from it. Obviously, everyone can say Wigan made errors, Wigan weren't the best, and all those things. I'd like to think we played a part in them not being at the best, and we did what we practiced, which I've been probably moaning about a little bit, and saw the benefits of that. And although you can tweak things week to week, most teams do around what you do depending on what's in front of you. Hopefully, because of the positive experience of applying what we practiced, we can kick on with that now. And it's not a magic formula, but it's one that seemed to work for us at the weekend. So if it works against teams such as Wigan, I'm sure it'll work against many more.
Yeah, you've faced a big pack there, haven't you, in Wigan? So what chance then of your team doing it again against Catalans? Well,
that's the test, I suppose. It's another Wigan-like team, big, direct, coming at you through the middle of the field, and you've got to be tough enough to stand up to that. We did for large parts, but there were parts in that game at the weekend where we were scrambling not only on our try line or saving breaks, scrambling to get to our line. And for mine, that's something we've had a little work on today, was our contact, the first part of it. If we can get that bit right, it'll give us more of a chance to have a settled line to negate their biggest threats. They've got some big boys, they've got a great kicking game, and certainly have some threat on their edges. So we'll be up against it again, but that's a challenge for them now. Winning one in a few, I won't say anyone can do that because I know it's difficult, but you want to go back to back, don't you? You want to get another one and keep building. We'll worry about the scoreboard at the end of it, but if we can play with that sort of confidence and belief in each other and keep turning up again, I'm sure we'll give ourselves a chance.
And the Rugby League headlines this week have been about Sam Tompkins coming out of retirement. What do you make of that? Yeah,
I've seen that. Fair play to him. I couldn't think of anything worse. Look, Sam, absolute quality player, competitor, and yes, he might have been out of the game for a bit. It's probably give his body a bit of time to recover from a long career at the top end of it. So I'm sure the brain's still in the right place. Hopefully he's a bit rusty if he does make the field. But yeah, fair play to him if he thinks he can go and add to that team, and I know he cares a lot about Catalan, obviously. Fair play.
How surprised are you by that news?
Yeah, quite surprised. I thought he obviously bowed out in a big game. There's the grand final. Not the ideal finish for him, but not a bad way to leave the game. There's certainly worse ways than that. So yeah, slightly surprised. I do think I'm not sure of the situation at Catalan. I'm not sure the reason behind it. Obviously, they must have some issues, and Sam's there on a daily. I'm sure he's got some sort of capacity, some role there, working behind the scenes, and he must be looking after himself. And I'm sure one comment of I could jump in or whatever's set Steve's light bulbs off, and off you go. But I wish him all the best. I hope it goes well for him, but not too well.
How has that changed your game plan?
Look, as I said to you, we can tweak things, but we need to try and stick to what's been good for us. And if we can do that again this week, I'd be right for that.
9 months out is a long time, though, isn't it? How might that affect the contest that we're going to get here? Because suddenly all eyes are going to be on this game, aren't they?
Yeah, possibly. Look, as I said, Sam's a compare. Don't want to make the game all about one bloke, but I'm sure he'll find it difficult in patches, but his experience will drag him through. So we're not going to make a plan for Sam. We've got our plan that we need to be good at, and hopefully he'll have some good moments in the game. I'd imagine. Hopefully we can defend them well, and everyone can talk about him after, as opposed to throughout the game cheering his name. Hopefully, there's not too much of that.
What are you making of them this season? Been very good at home, but on the travels not so great.
Honestly,
8 from 10 at home. So what do you make of them?
Awesome. Well, we played them over there. Physical game, warm. I expect much the same as this week. The travel bit's always going to be a bit of an issue. It's not an easy feat for them, but I'm not too bothered about that anyway. And to be honest, I'll watch a lot of games, but I ain't paid too much attention to the board, trying to stay on top of the day-to-day here. But yeah, we'll expect a tough game from one of the top teams, and we'll have to go and be better than we were last week, I think, to try and double up our wins.
Are they a different beast this season, do you think, from what you've seen, from what you can glean?
I think they're quite similar. Direct, play that game where they suffocate you, and obviously, as I said before, they kick really well, so you're starting your sets in some tough areas, and yeah, it takes a bit, but I think if we can play our plan, look after the ball, which is a big thing, keep that away from them for as long as we can, take some energy out of those big blokes. We'll see what we look like in the late stages of the game.
Who in particular then do you think is going to be a big threat down the middle?
Oh, they've got them all over the field, and I think Ben Garcia, really good player, tough as they come, carries the ball well. Tariq Sims, Busquets, big thing. I could keep going off, could list the team off fire, to be honest. They've not been finishing at the top end of the table by accident.
Who do you look to in your group then to be the catalyst for another win?
Oh, it's no one person. They all need to go well. They've set some standards around their effort and desire, which has been spoke about a lot. But I think we're getting into our plan. To be fair, I don't want to put out on anyone in particular, but our spine players, full-back, halves, 9, making sure we get through the same plan or similar plan as we did last week. Their discipline is going to be really important and pushing people around the field.
You're travelling, I think, the day before, aren't you? So how might that affect preparations?
I suppose it's far from ideal, but as we said with Catalan, they're doing it every week. It just is what it is. It's a bit of travel, but it's also not too bad either. They get a bit of time together in each other's pockets, and no complaints about it. We could have a week there on the beach, south of France, acclimatise and all that. That'd be lovely, but that's the way we're doing it. In the day before, get the work done and get ourselves out.
A chat about you and how you're finding all this season, how it's all unfolding. For your own personal development, how do you think you're going?
I'm sure plenty of people like to judge rather than me. But yeah, it's been an interesting year, to say the least. Not what I expected on a lot of levels, to be honest. But I've enjoyed it, nonetheless. It's been very stressful, annoying at times. Everyone's been working real hard to get better, and we haven't seen the fruit of it early on. Starting to see a little bit more, which is great. And yeah, winning last week is why you do it, and it's nice to see that progress in the team. But yeah, enjoying it. It's a tough job. There's plenty to wade through. Yeah, I think. But yeah, I think we're on. I don't know how steep the curve will be for the future, but I think we're making progress.
People have been giving you credit. I know you're a bit reluctant to sort of accept that credit, but people are giving you credit for what you've done so far, and it's early days in terms of what's been going on. But how pleased have you been to sort of take those plaudits?
I don't read it, to be honest. I don't know. I think I just try and look after the four walls and the people's opinions around me. Really, those that have more information than those outside of the room, and I'm proud of our effort to stick at it and keep going as a staff as much as the playing group. It has been a good learning experience. Again, not what I expected, but we'll keep learning and learning fast. And look forward to next year when it comes. As I've said before, there's a lot of talk about when you're talking about transfers or incoming players and all. There's a lot of talk about that, but one of the things that what really interests me about coming to a Super League club and being part of a club that's got the scholarship, the academy, and hopefully developing a pathway was just that, playing a part in some of those young lads' futures and helping them get started on the right footing. And I think we've done a good job this year in getting a few in. It's probably been forced upon us in some respects, but seeing them take steps forward has been really rewarding, so I've certainly enjoyed that.
What's the feedback been from John overseas?
John touched base this morning. We're going to catch up. He's had a lot on over there. Obviously, he's employed by Brisbane, so he can't be getting too deep into the Hull FC stuff. And he's been with the New South Wales team in Origin, so he's had a few plates spinning at once there, and quite rightly so. He's been concentrating on that. I suppose as the season draws to an end, we'll probably touch base more as we start planning what next year, or pre-season rather, looks like. But yeah, I've heard as much as you've heard in the press, really. I think he knows what he wants to do, and everyone he'll be more than happy to get behind that and try and see it through. Are
you trying to implement some ideas then from what he wants to do?
No, as I say, we've not spoke about that. We are going to speak about next year and the pre-season and stuff, but this stuff in the short term is, I suppose, between myself, Franny, Jace, Benno and Gazi, the gang in there. We're trying to do what we think's right for this club, and the direction that we think, which I'm pretty sure aligns with what John wants anyway, around professionalism, raising standards, that competitive edge, and we're on with that. I don't think it might not be exactly how someone else would do it, but I think good, strong environments that Gaz has certainly spent time in, Franny has. I'm fortunate to play in a pretty good Warrington team for a decent time there, and they've been high standards, professionalism, all them good teams are doing it. I'm not saying all are professional, but I do think there's levels to it, and I think there's definitely growth in that, and trying to set some standards now we can build on is really important.
Thanks for answering the questions. Good luck.
No worries, thank you.
Grix, you mentioned span players there. One span player that's come back into the side, Jack Charles, in the last 2 games. For him to play 8 games, dip out and come back in, how tough is that for a young player? So you've been that young player yourself. I mean, what do you have to do to get yourself in the right mindset to come back to Super League?
Well, I think Jack, self-confessed rugby nerd, so for him, he has been itching and ready to go, making sure he's ready and prepared. Obviously not being in, he understood the why, and he also understood the why of him being in so early as well, so I don't think he's been bothered by it in terms of feeling put out of not playing. We had another option, and more experienced option, and for where we've been at, it made sense, didn't it? But now he's gone away, played academy, smile on his face, represented England. He's been busy in between, and coming back in, yeah, he's fine with it. He's same as all those other young lads though. We're not expecting the world from him when he comes in. We expect a lot from people around him to help him do his job, and did an okay job of that in that last one there, and hopefully we can go a little bit further in this week. But we're all pleased with Jack. Everyone's obviously proud of him. We all hope for his future and what he could be, and he'll keep doing the hard work to try and realise that potential, I'm sure.
So you've mentioned sticking to plan and repetition and trying players continuously. Obviously, Jake and Jack, they've got a huge emphasis there, haven't they, to obviously make sure you're sticking to that plan as the 2 halves. So to see that come to the fore against Wigan, that must have pleased you a lot.
Oh, definitely. They're not alone. I mean, we say spine players. It's part of their role to manage the game. You've got those big blokes in middle that there's some skill in there, definitely, but they're them blunt instruments that just need telling what to do at times. And between them, that job, it's a lot of communication skills in there. And sometimes they haven't got words, it's more actions and how they look at each other and move each other around. There's that. And then the skill and energy to do it as well, because obviously if you're going to promote ball movement, you don't do it stood still, you've got to be on the move and checking out for opportunities. So yeah, I've been happy with how they're going. I think that's a start of a relationship in it, I suppose. Obviously the majority of Truey's games, Benny Reynolds has played them, so now they're getting used to another partner as well. But yeah, I thought they had some really good moments where they linked up well last week, so hopefully we're building it, as you say.
Well, so you mentioned the review that you were going to have on Monday and that it was going to be more positive because you actually stuck to the game plan.
Yeah.
What was that like then? Obviously, was it a good, confident talk and showing that lads, you know what, this works, let's do it more now, we might get more results?
Yeah, there's still some, you can't just look at the good, there's some ugly we need to look at. But yeah, generally, everyone's happy out there after a win. Everyone comes in feeling a little bit better about themselves, and you know, there's not too many, how could I put it, red faces when stuff's on the screen. Plenty more pats on the back and well done as opposed to what are you doing here. So yeah, they're much better to do than the tough ones.
Well, so there was some brain explosions, for want of a better word. Obviously, the try that you mentioned on the weekend, the scrum play when they went to touch. How would you negate that? Because obviously it's high pressure when you're in the game and you've got a split second to think. So how would you get into situations where your players can maybe think and play the percentages a little bit more? I
think you can try scenario stuff in training. Yeah, explosions. They're very dependent on what they are, aren't they? So the scrum one I mentioned, that's probably just an individual thing. Where Lewis, it's that quick spatial awareness bit of, I ain't got the room, get down. But again, how many games is Lewis into his career? He played 15, maybe 15, 16 games. This is something that's going to come over time, and we have to accept it to a degree. Young blokes make errors in any walk of life, at any profession they might be doing. Yeah, I think it's more getting in games, getting in contests to where you're exposed to being in that position more often than not, that you will, over time, start making better decisions. We didn't have too many terrible ones, to be fair. Might have made a bit more out of it than it was after the game. But yeah, it certainly made the end of the game quite interesting.